It's late. You re-driving home alone on a dark road when suddenly you see a woman standing by the side of the road in the distance. She's all in white and waving frantically. You pull over to see if she needs help, and as you approach, you realize that she's hitchhiking. She looks scared and says she needs to get home before her family wakes up and realizes she's gone. You feel bad and let her into your car. As you drive, she tells you about how she was out with her friends, but they left her behind. She thanks you over and over again for helping her, saying that she'd never get out of this part of town on her own. After a few minutes, she asks you to turn on the radio to a local station. She seems anxious to hear something on the radio. As you do, she keeps looking over her shoulder, as if afraid of someone following you. You drive on in silence for a while until you begin to approach her destination. That's when you notice that she's no longer in the passenger seat. In fact, she's vanished, taking her backpack with her. You look back, but there's no sign of her anywhere. Now, terrified, you speed away from the house she asked you to stop at, knowing that inside it, someone is waiting for her return. But who? Why did you pick her up? And what will happen now that she's gone? For thousands of years, people around the world have told stories of ghostly hitchers who climb into cars and disappear. But perhaps the most famous of these tales is that of the woman in white, so named because of the all-white outfit she wears as she stands by the roadside. Sometimes called the White Lady, or even Joan, this mysterious woman is said to be a ghost who disappears from the passenger seat, leaving behind only her backpack. These sightings have been reported all over the world, from Europe to Asia to Africa and the Americas. And though there are some variations to the tale, the general story is always the same. And though the name Woman in White may sound generic, the phenomenon has been around for centuries. One of the earliest known written accounts comes from 1676, when German writer Johann Eisenmenger told the story of a phantom hitchhiker who appeared in his carriage while he was traveling along a forest path. Terrified by her ghastly appearance, Eisenman staggered backwards in his seat, causing his horse to bolt. When he turned around, the spectre was gone. These types of stories were mostly folk tales until the early 1900s, when the idea of the hitchhiker started popping up more frequently. During the Great Depression, when jobs were scarce and many families relied on charity to survive, people began telling stories of a woman in white who offered money to drivers in exchange for a ride, only to vanish before paying her fare. These stories were often accompanied by warnings to motorists to keep an eye on their passengers, as they might just be trying to steal from them. Then, in the 1950s, as cars became more common and young women were out driving by themselves, a new version of the tale emerged. This is the story we know today as the Vanishing Hitchhiker, and it usually goes like this. A lone driver is on a deserted stretch of road. When they spot a young woman standing by the roadside, she's wearing a white dress and is usually accompanied by a white suitcase. She asks the driver for a ride, and when they agree, she gets in the car without a word. She then instructs the driver to turn on the radio to a particular station, and they soon hear a frantic message saying that the girl is missing and asking for her to be returned home. Soon after that, she vanishes from the car. But not everyone believes this story is just an urban legend. Some people swear they've experienced it for themselves. One man recounted the experience on Reddit, writing, "I used to commute an hour each way from my parents' house where I grew up to my university campus. The road was a 2-lane country road that ran through the woods. It had a very poor cell signal and was rarely patrolled by police. I would listen to music and enjoy the peace and quiet. There were very few streetlights and it was a straight road, so visibility was pretty good even at night. But there were parts of the road that were unlit by streetlights and dipped below the tree line. So there were blind spots where you could unsee other cars coming until it was too late to avoid them." He continued, "I would often see wild animals on the road, especially deer, but also foxes and coyotes. Most of the time, I would just slow down and swerve into the other lane to avoid hitting them. But sometimes they would jump onto the hood of my car and smash the windshield before running off. I had a very vivid dream about a woman in white jumping onto my car and shattering my windshield. In the dream, I kept driving despite the pain and blood dripping down my face. Eventually, I woke up confused and worried that I had run over a pedestrian. Obviously, there weren't any reports of such incidents. But that night, I couldn't sleep, kept replaying the dream in my head, imagining myself smashing into a woman and killing her. The next day, I went to class, but kept thinking about the accident. I ended up skipping lunch and headed back home. Maybe 30 minutes into the drive, I saw a woman walking on the side of the road. She was wearing all white. I slowed down and rolled past her and yelled, "Hey, you okay?" She didn't respond, but she kept walking. I felt a little bad, so I turned around and went back to check on her. By the time I got back to where I'd seen her, she was gone. I looked around for a while, but I couldn't find her anywhere. It was obvious she wasn't there a few minutes ago. Her footprints were still visible in the soft mud on the side of the road. But where could she have gone? He decided to go on, but soon realized something was wrong. He explained, "I knew that if I stopped the car and turned it off, the anxiety would come rushing back. So I kept driving for another half an hour to make sure I was far enough away to not have to think about the woman. Finally, I pulled into a gas station to fill up and use the bathroom. It was then I noticed that the radio was tuned to a local station that I had unselected. The song playing on the radio changed and the DJ came on to say that this was a local channel. Then he announced, 'We just got word that 18-year-old Lisa Simpson has been missing for almost 2 hours. If you have seen her, please bring her back to her parents at the number provided below.' It hit me that I had seen a woman matching Lisa's description. I finished filling up and getting some water and drove home, relieved that it had only been a false alarm." But when I got home, I checked online to see if anything had been reported, and that's when I found out that an 18-year-old girl named Lisa Simpson had gone missing. The details matched up perfectly with the woman I had seen. I wanted to call the police, but I figured that I had already wasted their time once, and that they would just tell me to piss off. I was never able to shake the feeling that I had missed an opportunity to save her life. And every time I drive, I wonder if I'll see that woman walking in white. Many others have told similar stories, claiming that they picked up lost hitchhikers only to have them vanish into thin air. But is there really a supernatural explanation for these strange occurrences? Or could there be another reason why motorists keep seeing these hitchhikers who aren't really there? Well, according to paranormal investigators, the answer might lie in the realm of the supernatural. Some say that these hitching ghosts are actually the souls of people who died in traffic accidents and are now stuck on Earth. They unable to move on because they waiting for someone to take them off the streets where their body lay. Others say that these ghostly hitchhikers are demons who feed on the energy of living beings and need a human host to survive. That's why they appear in cars, because they want to enter the driver's body and use them as a vessel. But even if these spirits aren't dangerous, they can still cause problems. Some say that when a ghost hitchhiker enters a vehicle, they disrupt the energy flow and cause negative things to happen, like car accidents or engine trouble. That's why it's important to get rid of them as soon as possible. But what should you do if you find yourself with a ghost hitchhiker in your car? According to paranormal experts, there are a few things you can do to protect yourself. First, don't pick them up if you can avoid it. If you see a ghost hitchhiker by the side of the road, don't pick them up. If you do pick them up, be prepared for engine trouble or other strange occurrences. To avoid negative energy, some suggest keeping a holy water or a crucifix in your car. If you do find yourself with a ghost hitchhiker in your car, try to stay calm and focus on your breathing. If you're calm, they won't be able to feed off your fear and energy. And finally, don't forget to thank them when they leave. Even though you may not want them in your car, remember that they're still lost souls who need help. So be polite when they ask to get out. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our other videos on the paranormal. From ghost stories to alien encounters, we've got something for everyone. Thanks for watching.